It is just unheard of. Rev limiter. And I'm like, welcome to CarSceneKorea. I am DK Kim, your source for latest Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars straight from Korea. And the car I am test driving finally is 2027 Kia EV3 GT. It's not GT line, it's not regular GT, it is the GT with a neon stitch and neon GT button on the steering wheel. Also, the neon stripe in the middle of the seats together with the semi-bucket seat. And as you can see, I am very excited. What does that mean? Because it is a fun car to drive. Rev limiter. It's been a couple of months here in Korea. This EV3 GT rolled out together with its siblings EV4 GT and EV5 GT. And of course, I'll be coming out with videos on those cars too. Just like this car's exterior, this car's sale kind of went under the radar, subtle. I kind of understand why Kia probably did that, because this performance-oriented cars is not for the vast majority of customers. We all know that. They've been slowly working their way up together with their GTs. First with the EV6 GT, second we got the EV9 GT, and finally the EV3 GT. Honestly, this is the car that I've been waiting the most ever since I heard the news about the GT introductions of all their EV series. Well, number one, EV3 has been excelling. They've been through the roof. They have won numerous awards around the globe. The car has been loved by so many actual owners who drive this car, who own this car. I mean, just go watch any of my EV3 video. You guys will know that I'm not exaggerating, just going through a few comments in those videos. Well, we can also see over there, we have EV3 as a taxi in Korea even. The reason why that I've been waiting this car the most is because number one, I loved everything about this EV3 the moment I hopped inside the car, just like many of you guys out there. In terms of the exterior size, while still accommodating the 5 passengers no problem, a massive leg room together with the headroom and the wide panoramic sunroof. And also, don't forget about this cutting board, some of you guys call it. I know, this is not for everybody, but Kia knew people are spending their life the most inside the car after their house, office. Number 3 is the car. Did you know that? It's kind of obvious. As much as you are driving the vehicle, you are also staying a lot inside this vehicle, hence these handy features. This is very practical when you work inside a car using a laptop. And of course, the car being an EV, you can have the AC running 24/7. Doesn't matter boiling hot like today or freezing cold in the winter times. And the second row seat also has an ample amount of headroom together with the leg room. You can recline the seats, and don't get me started with the trunk space, trunk compartment in the back. Again, I've gone over this many times. I think I have at least 6-7 EV3 videos on the channel already, so please refer to that. As much as this car is the GT, the most performance, highest number, everything in their EV3 lineup, EV3 GT actually derives mostly from being a great daily drivable car to more like a weekend fun car that you would bring out to your canyon runs on the weekends. So it will be a perfect grocery getter during the weekdays, your A to Z vehicle. However, with a push of a button, this right here, GT, let me give you a proper GT mode momentarily, okay? I still need to get used to the car just a little bit. Okay, VGS was turned off, no doubt. I need to show you things here because just watch at the bottom. It is at auto currently, and you can see it has 3 different levels of iPedal, or I should say 4, that's including the 0, level 0. And if you press hold the right pedal shifter for long, it's going to go into that auto, meaning the car is now in Smart Regen 3.0, the latest smart regenerative system from Hyundai Motor Group cars, which allows you to drive with 1 foot using the accelerator pedal only. because the car also understands the distance and traffic around you. So when you lift your foot off the accelerator while the cars are slowing down and also stopping, well, I can show you in 3 seconds. 2, 1, lift my foot off, lift my foot off. You see? The car slowed down and also puts the car to a complete stop on its own. This is not just EV3 GT exclusive. It is applied to the latest EV cars from Hyundai Motor Group cars. So if you have this feature on your Hyundai HMG EV, make a good use of this, because this is a day and night difference if you haven't tried it before, trust me. So as I have suggested at the start of the video and with the title, who would buy this EV3 GT over the regular EV3 dual motor? Because numbers certainly are not that great. I am talking about the performance numbers and figures here, because it's not the fastest 0 to 60, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour car from Kia. There's EV6 GT, there's EV9 GT even that's faster than this smallest, tiniest CUV. But I know precisely who wants and needs a car like EV3 GT. I found out in the most unexpected way possible. So hear me out. I had my friend, quick VGS by the way. You know what I mean? All right, I need to put the car back into the quiet mode. The drive mode button is in the middle here, so press on this to go into Eco, Normal, Sport, and Snow. And with that, all that VGS, the rumbling note is gone. It's complete EV that we all know of. And I apologize in advance. Pardon me, I jump in here and there. But if you've been watching my channel, you guys know I do that all the time, especially with fun cars like this car today. So hear me out. I was helping out my good friend trying to get himself a new car. Well, he wanted a Mercedes C-Class. So we go into the dealership and he knows a couple of things about, you know, performance, having fun with the car and whatnot. Because he drove a V6, he likes flooring the car, going fast on straight lines and so forth. I suggest him C63. Are we talking about that? Because there's only one car that checks those categories. And then he says, that car is just too much, because we're in Korea where parking lot's always tight and you're always next to somebody. When you fire up that C63, when you wake up that beast in the morning, you're going to wake your whole neighbor up. And we're still talking about before all this emission issues arose and the car started to get super quiet. You know what I mean? Well, then there is the C200, which is the weakest car of the entire Mercedes-Benz C-Class lineup. Then he says, that's just too weak, isn't my taste. And I'm like, come on, what are you talking about? And then there was this dealer came up to us and said, hey, there's a C43. And I'm like, honestly speaking, the moment I actually saw that car come out, I said to everybody, who on earth would buy that car? Because it sits right in the middle of the two distinctive characters. You know, C200 being economical and more of a grocery getter, you know, while there is the C63 AMG, the ultimate AMG. And then that's when I came to realize there actually is a Persona that fits right into this category. So you guys can see where I'm going with this now, right? So this EV3 GT is exactly that car. People who want to have more fun, a little more power than regular EV3, and that all-wheel drive still is not enough for them, yet they don't want nothing too crazy maniac, track focused, because, well, I will never go on a track, so Ioniq 5N or Ioniq 6N is just too much for me. And also, one of the most important thing, the price factor too. That is where this EV3 GT comes in. And that's also what Kia had in mind when they were bringing up the EV3 45 GT lineup. Again, it's not as powerful as EV3 GT nor EV9 GT, but still keeping all the characteristics there is to the regular EV3 series. I honestly don't feel much of this car screaming that I am the performance car, that I am ready to go, except a little bit of different suspension setup. It is more stiffer than the regular one because EV3 regular was very comfortable. However, it's not the N level crazy stiffness suspension we are talking about. EV3 GT also gets, for the first time ever, the Preview ECS. Getting that suspension on this entry-level CUV, it is just unheard of. Moments like this, you see, this is where the GT mode comes in handy. That dilemma zone and you just need to get out of the intersection. You want more instant power and torque. And you guys have been hearing it. This simulated gear is called VGS, Virtual Gear Shift. So Kia is not trying to fake and tell you, hey, this is the internal combustion engine note we have. This is nowhere close to being an internal combustion engine note. And Kia didn't necessarily try to mimic one because there's not a single internal combustion engine that sounds like this. On the contrary, there's not a one single internal combustion engine that can sound like this. You know what I mean? This is EV and EV3 GT exclusive sound and mode that you can only check out from here, together with the fuel cut. There's also the rev limiter on this car. And look at this, the moment I start test driving this car properly, and I say properly because it's a GT, you gotta use the GT mode, right? I start to have fun and grin, and I am well within the speed limit even. And these guys around me, they have no idea I'm having all this fun because on the outside, I am just a regular, quiet, cozy, friendly, economical EV like the Ioniq 6 in front of us. And of course, we're on the freeway, enable the HDA and highway driving assist. I am stress-free, keeping up with the traffic. Everything is taken care of. And this 12.3-inch dual display of ccNC connected car navigation cockpit with the 7-inch HVAC dedicated display in the middle. This has been watered down from the flagship EV, EV9. Had it not been for the big brother there, this little brother, youngest brother, would have never ever gotten it. Going back to the Persona and who would want a car like the EV3 GT, I exactly know who that might be because I know a person who actually bought and drives this EV3 GT in a very example I gave you. The car is driven by his wife on weekdays to commute, and on the weekend he would bring this car over to canyon runs and have fun. It's almost as if this car was made for him. And let me borrow and introduce some of the statements he's made with the EV3 GT. It is a car for people who want to have best of everything while keeping things subtle, not standing too much out from the public. Because this EV3 GT, once again, is exactly that car. On the outside, it's very hard to differentiate unless you are into cars from the GT line because it has very similar bumpers on the outside. But it does have that neon caliper, the neon things that I've been telling you at the start of the video. And that one is one of his favorites. And just hold on one second. I want to test out the cornering ability because this is the only place I can test out throughout today. So as you saw, you can definitely have a lot of fun driving this car in your daily drives because there are corners, exits, turns in your city drives, and you can certainly push this car around in those corners to have the very fun that I just showed you. I'm really trying to get that 0 to 100 kilometers per hour if I can, but I'm not so sure if I have the road for that. Let's see if I can find anything here. And I'm actually driving this car from the driving center, meaning it's been driven by many people, but it's got the accumulated efficiency right on the screen. For the 5,259 kilometers, which is essentially the lifetime of this car managed to get 5.4 kilometers. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So the battery and specs of this car I will include on the screen right now. EV3 GT comes with NCM. It is not LFP batteries with 81.4 kilowatt hours of battery. That is the largest battery packs that we get from Hyundai Motor Group in this segment of the car. And going back to the owner's story, this car also yields over 500 kilometers of AER when you just drive this car as a grocery getter, city, urban SUV, EV. Enough of that. Let me get back to the GT mode. Turn the VGS on. This car nearly has 300 horsepower, which is the minimum number I would say that is required for the car to be fun to drive, which is required to put the car into the realm of 5-second mark for that 0 to 60, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Because anything slower than that, the car is just too slow. And look at this, the car has no problem whatsoever overtaking and also merging into the car, which is crucial and important when you merge in and out of the freeway. It's not just for you, but safety for everybody on the road. When you are merging into the lane, you better floor the accelerator, because everybody else is going like 60 miles per hour when you are trying to pick up the speed from 20 to 30 miles, right? And the reason why the VGS is important for the fun spirited runs is because we have the 5 major sensors in our human body, right? And of course, one of them is the auditory, and we get a lot of feedback from the sound and noise. This is also really important if you bring this car on tracks and spirited runs, because you're not looking at the tachometer to shift down and up. And Kia EV3 GT's gear ratio with the VGS, I would say, is very similar to the 4-cylinder car with turbo, of course, because it doesn't necessarily offer huge bend throughout the RPM gauge you can play with that you get with the NA cars. Again, I know that because I own one, driving one for the past 15 years. But different market will get different gear ratio, hence different algorithm as to how this car will work with the VGS. So things I'm showing you and telling you in this video might be different slightly to your market's EV3 GT. So double check with your local dealership as always, but it shouldn't really differ all that much, to be honest. So let me wrap it up. I know it has not been the proper test drive because I didn't really get to put this car on the corners where it truly belongs. Also have families full inside the car, once again, which this car very is for. I'll do that with my long-term test drive, but I could only get my hands on at this station for the time being. So that's gonna be it for today. Drop in the comment below any questions you have. I'll definitely check it out, find out, and get back to you with answers with my next long-term test drive with the EV3 GT. However, like I said at the start of the video, this car checks all the boxes for 90% of population who are in the market looking for family compact EV SUV. Do you disagree? Well, then let me know in the comment below. I am always open to a healthy debate, if you didn't know. I love talking and debating with my viewers, people around the globe, because we all have different perspectives and takes on this car, right? Which this car very much is. Again, this is very different from Hyundai N's performance cars that we have heard and seen. Don't forget to like and subscribe CarSceneKorea if you did, and I'll see you in the next video. If you think I left some things out about this EV3 in general, once again, I have many videos on the channel, so please go check that out. When you're in GT mode, it does not turn the VDC off completely though. It lets the car slide a little, but the car is in control. It doesn't fully disable the VDC. And put the car into parking. Look at that. Rev limiter. So you see the red zone, 7,000 RPM. Well, Also, that is in the realm of the naturally aspirated cars. However, it doesn't really feel like that way, to be honest. I would have definitely appreciated had there been more choices with this VGS, because there's only one sound that I've been showing you throughout the video. This is it. This is the only thing.